numbers I gave you were based on current levels, but if you keep printing money, you need a higher price to, if you want to reference gold and not cause deflation, which they don't, you're going to need a progressively higher price of gold. One thing people forget, they look at the dollar price in absolute dollars. So it went up $100 an ounce, or, I expect before long it'll go up $1,000 an ounce a week. But each dollar increase is a smaller percentage increase. So people look at the dollar. It's real money. It's nice to make the money. But, if you go from $14,000 an ounce to $15,000 an ounce, that's only a 7% increase. I mean, you can do that in a week. So my point is, it's still $1,000 an ounce, good for the holders, but the percentage increase gets smaller and smaller as the absolute dollar amount gets larger and larger. So $15,000 sounds like a big number from today's perspective, but as you go to 10, 11, 12, it gets to be a progressively smaller percentage increase, and therefore more likely. You need to see it logarithmically to see it, a less hyperbolic curve. So logarithmically is the right way to think about it, but in dollar terms, the percentage increase gets to be pretty small at those levels. And when I say $15,000 an ounce, I don't think I'm stretching. I mean, could it be 25,000, 40,000? I mean, just take my monetary equivalent. If you use M2, and by the way, when I used M1 and did that math, that's with 40% backing, because historically 40% has been a high level of backing. If you take M2 at 100% backing, you get to 50,000 an ounce in a heartbeat. My numbers, I think, are conservative. They could be much higher. But the thing I would point out is that the Fed dug a hole and they can't get out of it. And I said all along, but certainly, 2014, 2015, et cetera, as they did the taper and then they did the liftoff and then they raised rates and all that. I said the Fed is trying to get out of this. They're trying to normalize the balance sheet, trying to normalize interest rates. But I also said they won't be able to do it. And that's exactly what happened in the fourth quarter of 2018. Between October 1st and December 24th, 2018, the stock market dropped 19%. It was 1 point away from a bear market at that stage. And then you had the Christmas Eve massacre. And that's when Jay Powell threw in the towel. He got religion. He said, okay, first he said, we're not going to raise rates anymore. Then he said, we're on pause. Then he said, we're actually going to cut rates. And then 9 months later, he said, we're going to end quantitative tightening, which was reducing the balance, the money supply. And then in September 2019, they started QE4, which is that was before before the recession, before the depression, before the pandemic. They were already in QE4 and cutting rates again. So they can't get out of it. Now it's worse. So they prove that the failures manifest. They prove that they can't get out of it. And what can they do? By the way, on monetary theory, I mean, you say, what's the secret behind I think it's garbage, by the way, but you say, what's the secret behind it? Well, the secret behind it is if you can issue debt and collect taxes in the money that you print, you can force people to accept the money because they need the money to pay their taxes. And if they don't pay the taxes, they end up in jail. Now you can get extensions or do whatever, but at the end of the day, if you manifestly refuse to pay your taxes, they will come and put you in jail. And the point is, it relies on state power. It's really a neo-fascist concept. It relies on coercion, the point of a gun, jails, and state power to enforce the confidence in money. Now and they say that. I mean, I've read Stephanie Kelton. She's the bright light. I mean, this goes back a long way, but I've met her, read her books and her book, I should say, and her articles. But they're very explicit about that. Now, I think that's completely wrong because there are so many workarounds and so many ways to get out from under that kind of state power. But they do rely on state power at the end of the day. So that's why it has this neo-fascist element.